Okay, today I'm going to teach you how to break down a 2008 Can-Am 450X. Now, first off, you're going to want to start by removing this shock, which is on my bench, 2 bolts, and there's a single bolt down here you're going to want to undo. A little bit hard to see, sorry about that. And then after that, you're going to want to unbolt this from your fuel tank and unbolt this from the frame. I believe it is a T20 Torx, and they should be on pretty tight because this is a big thing with the frame. That's why they're the fastest in their class, is because they're light. You're going to want to unbolt this, and then you're going to want to pull off this upper radiator hose. Now this is just the big stuff. We'll get to the little stuff in a minute. But you undo this little radiator hose here, which I plugged with this ball peen hammer, which is pretty awesome. You want to unhook your battery because you will be removing the ECM as well. You don't want to cook stuff like that. It's a $1,000 part from Can-Am, not worth it. Then you're going to want to pop this bottom hose off, which was completely unnecessary. I didn't need to do it, but I did it anyway. I drained the coolant out. My coolant's dark blue, so I'll change it out. You're also going to have to unbolt your coolant reservoir, which is on that tire over there, and your gauge cluster. And you're also going to want to undo a few other miscellaneous bolts. Now, there is one bolt down in here where the gas tank is bolted on. I didn't know how to do it. Thought I was going to have to cut in here with my angle grinder, but I didn't do that. I stuck a really small wrench in there, and I pinned it up against that nut, and then I slowly turned it out, and it came out. So, thankfully, we didn't have to do that. It's got custom rims, a Motorworks exhaust. There's your reservoir tank. I gotta walk around. I got my camera plugged in. And then this side is the same as before. Unbolt the shock, unbolt the aluminum thing. You're gonna want to remove the number 1 spark plug wire. Tuck that up top. This is your coolant reservoir overflow hoses. Who cares, really? They just need to come out of the way. I tuck them up here on the coil, make sure they don't touch or rip out your wires. And then you're going to pretty much be able to take off your gas cap, and there's another little thing that clips in there, which I don't have. There's the gas cap there. And you're going to want to push the tank down, and then you're going to want to push this hose down. It helps zip tie it. This is your, this gets zip tied up for the dry sump oil system. And then you're going to have to wiggle this tank out, and then you're going to have to pop it out. It feels like you're going to break the tank, but you're not. It just takes a little bit of time, and you'll do it right the first time, and hopefully you never have to pull it again. Always run ethanol-free gasoline in it. Pretty sure this is what happened to mine. Actually, Can-Am recommends you do run 91 octane. I didn't unbolt the shock all the way. It was unnecessary. Didn't need to do it. Not a lot of bolts. I am missing a couple pieces of plastic. I got the seat and that. Stuff's chipped and done, but this is going to be the first episode of many, hopefully, if I still have this thing when I'm done, if I don't want to sell it. This is your plug for your ECM. You're going to want to take your key switch out and prop it up somewhere, because all these little wires, you don't want to yank them out. This is your plug for your fuel pump. It's got a blue, 2 black wires, and 1 with a red stripe in it. If that'll help you, if that's what you're looking for. My fuel pump was completely blown in this case. Let's move on over to the workbench. Now this is the fuel pump out of the Can-Am. As you can see, this wire is completely bare, which is probably why it was popping fuses. It's rusty. The pump doesn't turn. I hooked it up to that box. I had no pump, didn't even make a noise. I'm assuming that this goes to the fuel pump. I think this is a regulator down in there. This big thing here. This gets attached there. That was broken off when I pulled it out of the tank. This one was miscellaneous. This big green one goes here, and this black wire goes on the bottom. And then you got your four prong plug. You're going to have a big fuel line that comes out of the top with a hose clamp. Here's your shock that I pulled off. Now here's your ECM. If you're gonna clean out your gas tank, I recommend you do unplug your ECM, because this is a $1,000 part, and I don't even look at it wrong. I'm so scared it's gonna break because it's a Can-Am. My gas tank, I didn't really clean it out yet. I got on bolt the ECU. I don't have the correct bolts, but this is also what happens to your filter if you don't run the right gas. It pretty much just dissolved. Like, it's just destroyed. I found a nice used assembly for 150 bucks. We're gonna throw that in. The dealer wants $356, which is a little much in my opinion if you're just trying to get your machine running. Another thing is run engine ice coolant with these. These do like to get hot if you trail ride them. They like a lot of airflow through the front radiator. And also, one other thing I discovered is I took off my front left wheel just so I can get up and get bolts, because I had no idea what I was doing at first. But this brake is a little bit hung up. You can't just, it's dragging a little bit. That's all got to get taken apart. But if you can find a bike like this, I was just spraying carb clean in it and running it with no fuel system, and this thing revs right up. If you can find one for under $2,000, you got yourself a nice machine if it needs a few $100s in parts. Also, this machine makes like 51 some horsepower and everything you can pick up with one finger. So, you got yourself a weapon on the racetrack. But alright, thank you. This is episode 1. I hope you found something in this video that you can learn from. Alright.